If you join in Eve Echoes a nullsec-based corporation or alliance, at some point you'll be introduced to their doctrine and be told to have one or more ships from the doctrine ready to go at all times, for defence fleets, call to arms and so on. But what exactly is a doctrine? Why should you fly what other people tell you to? And doesn't that subscribe button count as a ship? So today we'll be going over what a doctrine is at its core, and some of the language to listen out for when taking part in these fleets, as it will often be assumed that you'll understand everything that the FC or fleet commander actually says. So what is a doctrine? When the military commanders of nullsec groups lead dozens if not hundreds of people into battle in Eve Echoes, the worst type of fleet they can be forced to command is what's referred to as the kitchen sink. What this refers to is a fleet with no consistency. For example, mixed weapons ranges, shield logistics ships and armour guardians together, supporting ships that are fitted for ratting content and not fleet warfare. Then lastly, there's the guy with the most expensive ship in the game, who everyone ends up having to hopelessly defend. There are many more examples that I could think of that could cause a fleet commander headaches when dealing with kitchen sink fleets, and I am sure that some of you will be more than happy to share some of those unique experiences in the comments section below. But you get the picture. FCs need to know that not only are the ships and fittings consistent, but follow a specific design intent. You'll often find that there are multiple doctrines on offer, and depending upon the FC and the objective of the day, one doctrine will be completely ruled out in favour of another. For example, one doctrine may focus on fast-moving drone boats that fight at over 80 kilometres away, and the next might be a brawling armour fleet with railguns and lasers. Needless to say that the brawling laser ship would almost be useless in the long-ranged drone boat combat fleet. So can I still have just one ship? Well, there are ship types that remain almost universally accepted within fleets. The first, of course, is logistic ships. These are often designed to be usable across all of an alliance's doctrines, and considering that the majority of doctrines tend to be shield-based, then going with a shield logi ship would be a good way to go. Logistics pilots can often be of a short supply, and concessions are often made in the doctrines to ensure that they can be included across multiple doctrines. And logistics, however, is somewhat skill intensive and requires that the pilot has a decent grasp of the basics before jumping into the fleet. And the next ship type is the humble interceptor. Interceptor pilots, whilst not fitting perfectly into the doctrines, offer their ability to scout, respond quickly to tackle high value targets, and can quickly move between different groups within the fleet to provide assistance, commonly with escorting the larger ships when their pilots fall behind when moving between star systems. So next up we have understanding the fleet commander, or the FC as they are more commonly referred to as. As I noted earlier, it will often be assumed that when the FC issues an order, all fleet members participating will understand that order and act upon it, and any players who don't understand these orders or miss them outright can end up falling outside of the protective bubbles, autopiloting to the wrong system, or even jumping alone through a gate into a hostile gate camp that demolishes you in seconds. Some of these commands you're going to miss and mishear them at some point. Maybe you struggle with their accent, or are simply distracted by what's going on outside of the game. None of this can be helped. but I can still help you with some of the lingo that they'll use to reduce the chances of any of this happening to you. So first up we have anchor. Your anchor is someone you need to set as your auto orbit or auto approach. These will often be the fleet commander themselves, or a guardian pilot, such as the nightmare pilot who has the big protective bubble, to avoid bumping them unnecessarily and interfering with their ability to move. It is best to set your orbit or approach to 1 km. If you don't anchor up correctly on them, you can end up far outside of the Guardian's protection and become a priority target for the enemy. Next stop is best speed. Best speed is most commonly issued to interceptor pilots. A autopilot destination will be set prior to this command, and pilots are to hit the autopilot with shortest route settings and reach the target as quickly as is possible. Simple as that, get there as quickly as you can. Bubble up and bubble down sound like the most simplest of the commands that you're going to hear. This is referring to when the Guardian bubbles and warp disruption bubbles are to be activated and deactivated. Activating these prematurely can result in the activating ship being unable to jump through stargates until the timer is up, risking getting left behind or holding back the fleet unnecessarily. Also, deactivating these too soon can threaten the fleet's survivability. But as a first-time pilot in a CTA, I nearly forgot the words then. As a first-time pilot flying a Doctrine ship in a CTA, odds are you're not going to have to worry about this particular command. Now, brake. This is a common one that you'll hear on much looser comm structures when it comes to CTAs. Some fleets will have an open comm structure where anybody can chat freely throughout the operation, and if you hear anyone shouting the word brake multiple times, like FC, brake, 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 they have something important for the fleet operation to convey to the fleet and its commander, some really important information. And in much longer fleet operations, let's say you're expecting it to go on for 2 to 3 hours and there's a long waiting game in between certain aspects, comms will open up just so that people don't get bored, and this is where you have to listen out for the word break. So moving on, we have jump on contact. Upon arriving on a stargate out of warp, you simply just jump through it immediately, nice and simple. So yeah, as you're warping between stargates, it's not uncommon for the FC to say as you're hitting to warp, don't jump on the gate, hold on contact, and then as soon as you get there it's jump on contact. I've changed my mind now. And this is where we move on to hold on contact, which I've already alluded to. Don't jump through the stargate when you arrive, and if autopilot is running, disable it, hit that pause button, and if you have to, hit stop on your ship multiple times whilst you're still in warp to make sure that you're not still going to jump automatically when you land on the gate. Getting this wrong can land you in a hostile gate camp all alone, and this is where we move on to holding your cloak once you have jumped through a stargate, especially when you jump alone into a hostile gate camp. Whether it's the temporary cloak that's offered by stargates, or the cloak you have active on your ship's fittings, keep it on. Do not decloak deliberately. This command is often issued after jumping through the stargate into a hostile gate camp, and can be a way for the commander to quickly assess the situation before the conflict starts. It's not all that uncommon for an entire fleet to jump through and wait out the cloak timer just to get a grasp of what's going on and to properly strategize the targets. Then you'll all decloak pretty much simultaneously and carry on as was. Next up we have primary target or focus fire. This is very, very simple. These will often be highlighted using the in-game's focus fire commands. Everybody shoots at the same target, and just be wary not to confuse the in-game focus fire command for the repair friendly commands. It has been known for people to get blue on blue kill mails by mistaking the two commands. Yeah, Go into your fleet settings and make sure that you're not set up to receive the repair commands if you're in a DPS ship. It has been known to happen, and I'm sure someone's going to share a example of this in the comment section. Last up, we have tackle. Tackle is whereby any ship has a warp scrambler or warp disruptor. They are considered to have the ability to tackle. Tackling in Eve Echoes is preventing the target from warping away. The interceptor pilots will often be called to speed off to specific high-value targets to hold them in place for fleet to engage. Note this command isn't exclusive to interceptors and applies to any larger ship that are already within range with the correct module in place to stop an enemy from warping away. Now, all of this about sums up everything I have for you in this video, and hopefully this will come in useful for you in your first CTAs. As for those of my viewers that are frequent CTA attenders, feel free to include any other terminology I missed in the comment section below. As I've alluded to in the past with my previous PvP Cobalt Edge video, I don't do all that many CTAs because they just tend to land either in the middle of the working day or when I'm asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. So considering I don't take part in all that many, there's bound to be more terminologies and phrases that I simply haven't included. So let me know about them in the comment section below. And until the next video, guys, fly casual in New Eden. Actually, my script says fly dangerously, but the script's quite old.